Okay, so welcome and thank you all participants who have joined today. So this session is going to cover Meshed RTOManager CRICOS AVETMISS reporting feature for 2020. So today I will be covering the data collection and process timeframes. So these are my agenda today. So how to extract the NAT files, reports from RTOManager CRICOS platform, what is required to be reported and where data comes from. We will also talk about submission tools and login details and process to submit the reporting data. And we will also go through some of the common errors, warnings, and how to fix them. Okay, so the first one is data collection process and timeframes. So basically, NCBR web-based AVETMISS validation software accepts annual reporting data until 26th of February 2021. So every year it's the 28th of February, but this year because 28th falls on the weekend, so they mentioned about 26th of February. So make sure you submit your data with the due date. So all RTO are required to submit the data to National Grid Provider Collection at least once a year. There's a facility in the system that you can submit your quarterly report as well via a state training authority. Sometimes you may also submit to your state and they will submit on your behalf to the national. Now the next one is all RTO must continue to provide submissions to annual collection on nationally recognized training delivered in a calendar year. So we are talking about the data that has all the activities between 1st of January 2020 until 31st of December 2020. So if you have all your activity from this date to 31st December, you need to submit your data within the deadline of 26th of February 2021. If you do earlier, so you will have chance to fix the data and submit. So RTO has an options to report quarterly data such as January to March, April to June, etc. So we'll see this one in the system as well. So advantage of reporting earlier is that student will be able to see their informations in the USI when they log into the USI portal. Okay, so going down here, how to extract your data from your platform. So first of all, you have to log into your system with the administrative login. So in the dashboard, you will have an icon, AVETMISS data export tools. So here, what you have to do, so what is the important selection criteria is if you select the wrong type, then you will report the wrong data and you will have lots of errors, system will not accept. So in order to avoid that, you must select your national reporting as a type. Reporting year is yearly, collection year is 2020. System will auto select all the states by default. So if you have delivered your training on different venue, different states, so it will be auto selected, and you need to select on non-claim only. So those students who are fee for service all falls under this criteria. If you have funded, then you will be excluding those funded from national reporting. Okay. And the format that you have to export is TXT NAT files. So you select all these filter options, then you click on export to TXT NAT files to export your data. And finally, the system will give you AVETMISS_NAT.gif files, which contains your 10 files from the system. Now, what is required to be reported and where data comes from? So those who are new, who don't know how many files that you have to submit and where the data comes from the system. So this mapping document will help you. So let's say if you are generating our NAT10 files, then we pull the data from your college info setup. For NAT20, we pick up the data from your training locations and venue. We are reporting your courses from course menu, then all your unit will be reported from unit menu. Your student will be reported from student profile. So during application, we capture their mandatory AVETMISS related questions. So it has all the mapping and where the data comes from. And tomorrow when you do your validations, when you return an error, where to go and fix the informations. So let's say if you have an issue with your NAT80 with the address, you have to go to your profile and then update. So this is our system field. This is the AVETMISS mapping field. So based on this document, it will help you to figure it out where the data comes from and how to fix them. Okay. So going down here, your submission tools and login details. So here, where to submit your data. So you have done your activity, you have extracted your report. So you need to go to this website, avs.ncber.edu.au. And if you are a new organization, you need to register with your organization to get login access. If you're existing, so you may have your username and password to log into this portal and submit your data. Okay. So what you have to do after you log into the portal, so once you log into the system in NCBR portal, there's a options under collection, new collection, to upload your data. So you have to select new collections. Then depending on your organization, we are not the valid organization, that's why we have our email address, but you will see your organization. Year you have to select 2020 and period Jan to December. And these add files will allow you to upload the zip file that you have extracted from the system. Then you upload the files and then click on validate. So it will extract all the files and then it will validate your data, and it will show you if you have good data or if there's errors that you need to fix, or if there's a warning. So you need to make sure that you go through this process and fix if there's any errors. Now, if you don't know how to use these tools in AVS, there's also a YouTube video provided by NCVR. So you can click on this link. We'll share this PowerPoint slide with you. Go to the YouTube channel and understand or learn how to use these validation tools as well. Now, when you submit your data, what happens is when you click on validate, okay, so it will give you any status, either error or validated. If your data is validated with if the different color highlighted here is partial blue, so meaning that there are some warnings. So warnings are accepted to report, but if you have any error, you cannot do your final submission. So you must fix all the errors, and within this partially validated, you see what are the warnings that you have received. So if you can improve your warning for the future, or this warning may lead to error in the future, so just make sure you double check what are the warnings that you have, and you are submitting those along with the warning. Okay, so some of the common errors and warnings and how to fix them. Now, the first one is if you extract your wrong format, if you extract the state format and submit to national, that's a common error. So you need to extract your national format. So other things that is very common is record contains illegal character. So sometimes when you record the student's name or their address, you may have a special character like hash, or there is a double colon, or any special character. The AVETMISS engine will not accept this character. So in that case, you will see which record has a illegal character. You need to fix them. We recommend you to download the Notepad++, which is similar to Notepad, to open up and fix your illegal character issues. So basically, this Notepad++ will give you which particular record has issue, and then you need to go back to your system, delete that data, and then retype with the clean information, and then re-extract and fix that particular issue. If you have any illegal character, either in subject, in the student name or address, your files will not go to a next step. So it's very important to know how to troubleshoot the illegal character one. Now the next one is unit finish date going cross here. So it's about how well you have recorded your data in the system. So there is a certain business rules. If a student start in 2019 and they still continuing to next year till 2021 or cross year, so outcome must be 70, continuing enrollment. So if you put the outcome as C or NYC, so that's the wrong data that you have recorded. So the system here is smart enough to put 70 as an outcome for those records which is cross year. So you don't have to really worry about, but always double check if you have a situation where a student has completed the unit, but you have left the unit as enrolled. Enrolled is not the valid outcome. Either they will be CNYC or withdrawn. So you have to make the final outcome the valid that AVETMISS engine accepts. Now another one is course commencing ID. So same with the course commencing ID. So system will record number 3 as a commencing ID for a course, or number 8 for unit of competency. And if they are continuing students, you must change it to number 4. The next one is wrong unit ID. So sometimes you record the unit ID wrong, which does not match with training.gov. So you need to also fix those issues as well. Another very common error is field of education. So if you use the system correctly, then you will not go wrong with field of education. But sometimes if you have manually inserted the field of education, and if you have recorded wrong field of education, you need to fix those ones as well. Okay, so we'll go through and see in the system as well. Similarly, student address. So this is most common. You record wrong postcode, does not match with the suburb. So you must fix this issue as well. So it will always return an error. So during application process, if the user type the suburb, system will populate the right postcode. But if you have not followed the system process, that's where you may have a wrong data, and then you need to fix this one. Another one is your training venue. So if your venue suburb does not match with postcode, that will return another error. Then next one is wrong funding source. So let's say student is international, but you have given the funding source as domestic fee for service. Or if they are domestic, you are recording as international fee for service. So it's just not the right funding source. So again, system is smart enough to default the right funding source, but user can change and override. So that's where you may find this kind of error. And the last one is course finish date issue. So course finish date must be within the same year if all activity is finished in the same year. Meaning that if student has completed all the unit in 2020, you cannot put course finish at 2021 because there's no activity remaining. So you have to change the course finish date to 2020, and then that data will report in NAT 130 as a program completion. So let's see from the system point of view how to extract these information. So I would use one of my test site here. So once you log in, I'm using Super Administrator. So I have a AVETMISS reporting tools here. So all I have to do is select this as a national report. So 2020, so it will auto select all the states. I need to untick my AVETMISS claim funded. So this is to report to a state reporting body. So here you can export your non-claim students. So it will give you a zip file. Okay. So after this, so you either register, or if you have an existing user, you can log in with your credential. Okay, so once you log into the system, either you click here new collections, or you click here as well. So it's the same thing. So it will take you to the new page. So your organization will be there. What is the type? And then you need to select 2020. So there's a quarterly reporting as well. So if you have a good practice, you can even submit your quarterly report every now and then. So in the final, you will have less error. So you select Jan to December for your final reporting. So collection period is from 1st of Jan to 31st December, and you click on add files. This is my file that comes from the system, and then I upload. Okay, so once it's uploaded, then you need to click on validate. So these files is automatically extracted from that zip file. Okay, so let's see what is the status we received from this. We may expect a lot of errors because we are not an RTO, our code, venue, so there's a lot of validations we fail, but what we can do after we receive the report. Okay, so I have lots of errors except NAT 100, which is validated. Okay, So once you see error, so you can also see how many records each of these files contain, how many unit activity you have reported, how many student head count you have reported. So you can see how many disability students you have reported as well, how many students completed the course in 2020. So different files will contain different type of informations, and all of these error must be fixed. So how to fix this error? So there's different ways to fix this error. You can click on export these details. So it will export in CSV format all these errors. Or if I want to fix one by one, I can click on this hyperlink. It will take what is the error, which particular record has an issue. So it just tells me that we are not an RTO. Okay. So once you extract this CSV data with your error, so the way that you can read these errors here is, so in the column E, it tells the description. What does that error means? Which particular files is an error? Okay, so way to filter is, let's say you select all your error first. There's a warning as well, and then each file, what are the errors that you have? Okay, so you will be able to filter, and then if you go to this report, you also have a student ID to find out, okay, which particular student ID has that issue. So this column K is the student ID that has an issue, an error. So based on that particular descriptions and student ID, you should be able to go and fix your information. Okay. So one of the example is, let's say net 120, that's where lots of errors will come. Invalid funding source, outcome 70 should not be used. So it has different errors, and for which are the students. So you can see from column K here. So this is my student ID. So need to go to that particular student ID here, and then see what does that particular error means and fix it. Okay, so the way you will do is copy the student ID, you go to your student section. So this student has an issue. So you go to your system, and then you see for this particular course. So this is the course finish date. So this is the unit outcome. So the date is already passed. You cannot leave C as outcome. Either it needs to be competent or not yet competent or withdrawn. What is the outcome? So because of this one, it caused an issue. So you can edit the informations and then change to a right outcome and fix your data. Okay. So this is where the way to fix the net 120 issue. Everything pulls out from student results. That's where you can fix. And another issue, another common thing is your net 130, which is your program completion. Okay, so basically we have a student. So this student has completed the course, but there is no records. So again, we can check the student ID. Okay. So what we are saying is the student has graduated the course status, but there is no activity that is reporting for this year. So this is another problem. So any issue that you find out during your validation, you need to go to the student records and fix that, and then re-extract your data and validate again. You can do this process as many times as you want until you click on final submission. So if you have any records with error, you cannot submit your data. Okay, so everything must be finalized in order to do final submissions. If you have error, you cannot. So finally, you need to accept what type of data you are reporting and then submit your final submission. Okay, so this is the process here in terms of how to extract the reports and so on. And if you have any questions regarding, if you need any further support in terms of fixing your data and so on, please send your email to support@meshgroup.com.au, and maybe put your subject as AVETMISS support, so that way our team will be able to prioritize and then support on that particular need. So when you send your support query, what you can do to help the support team is you extract your details, you also attach the zip file that you have used, and then it will return those errors. So if you provide those informations ahead, so it's easy for the team to give you right advice, and then we can support for your 2020 reporting. Okay, so thank you for your participations today. For support and assistance, please send email to our support. Thank you, everyone.